Joe, it's fantastic to see you. You're looking well. How has retirement been for you?
Oh, it's been a good year. Loads going on, loads of new opportunities. Really enjoyed the kind of punditry work, commentary, staying in the game, family, friends. No, it's been a good year, a good setup year.
Yeah, when you announced your retirement, I'm sure there was a little bit of the unknown. You were very certain it was what you wanted to do, but looking back, was it the right thing to do at the right time?
Yeah, I think so. It wasn't without a lot of thought. I realised what I was giving up, but I was definitely ready. I watch football now just wanting other people to do well rather than putting myself in that position. So I think that's the greatest pleasure that I've got from that decision, because as sure as I was, you never know, right? So I made it, I got into everything that I got into. I can come to games, I enjoy games. If I can help someone, I'll help them. So, and to finish how I finished, I couldn't miss that opportunity.
Have family been happy to have you around a lot more?
A little bit. I definitely take myself a little bit too seriously, so I need to kind of come out of work mode when I come home, but that's life, innit? You move forward, you work together, and you adjust. We're a family. And
me being in this side of the camera, I'm interested to know how you've enjoyed the punditry and the commentary aspect of football.
I've enjoyed it. I kind of had an idea of how I wanted to do things, and I realised it wasn't necessarily how everyone else was doing it. So, but I think just exploring the world, it's a big world, especially that side of the camera. Trying to work on what I want to do and how I want to do it, and realising there's loads of great people, loads of helpful people, and my love for the game hasn't changed. I wanted to get into it because I wanted to explain situations. I didn't want to just, people said, are you going to feel comfortable about talking about fellow players or people in your position? And I always said, of course, because I'm only going to try and explain what I think happened. I'm not going to say whether someone's done something wrong or done something right. I think it's important to just break it down and use all the angles and the TV and the quality that's in football to back up my point.
I know you've been utilised quite a lot as a co-commentator in Celtic games. How enjoyable was that, commentating on guys who only a few months before that were your teammates in the dressing room?
Oh, awesome. Like I say, I'll always have people's back because I know what goes into it. I'll never forget the hard work. If you don't execute on a Wednesday or Tuesday night, doesn't make you a bad player. It doesn't make you, it doesn't make you a bad player. So like I say, I know what goes into it. So I can explain moments. If something did happen that maybe would be they're not having a good game, there'll be reasons behind that. It won't just be that they've stopped trying or something like that, which can be the thing that people say about players when they're having a tough game. I can understand that ultimately I was judging Celtic in the Champions League. They were up against Champions League oppositions, some of the best players from around the world. And then the best bit is they did so well. So I was able to really celebrate when they showed all aspects of their qualities, especially last season, having to dig in at certain points and show real quality at others.
And how pleased were you for Casper? He was someone who, when he came in, you left him to find out for himself what Celtic was like. But how pleased have you been to see the way that Celtic has taken to him and the way he has enjoyed that unique experience?
Delighted. I noticed it week by week. Casper's strong. Casper's aggressive. Casper will play. He'd play somewhere where he wasn't welcome, or he'd play somewhere where he didn't like, because he's an incredible professional. And then I just watched him get in the other side of football and what Celtic offer in terms of that trust and that belief and that people understanding and loving that side of his character. So yeah, it was great to watch. He flourished. He was excellent, as I expected him to be as a footballer, but I just saw him as a really happy footballer, and that made me happy.
Of course, you're coming back to Celtic Park soon for the Legends game. How much are you looking forward to walking out of the tunnel again with the boots on and the gloves on?
Yeah, I can't wait. I've come back a few times to work. I came back for pleasure because, it feels like somewhere that I'll always feel great coming back to. Walking on the pitch will be an even greater experience. I'll obviously want to do well as well. It's still in me to want to do my best. So I'll have to get the boots and gloves on previous to that. But one, for a good cause, and two, to get to play at Celtic Park, amazing.
Yeah, we'll talk about the foundation in a second, but just that connection that you had with the Celtic support, you'll get a feeling of that again, but it was a connection that was a really strong one.
Yeah, it really was. I think I came up knowing and understanding that anyone who, once you sign, you're welcome. Simple as that. That goes without saying. but then you kind of have to prove yourself, not necessarily as a player, you have to prove yourself as a person. And I understood that people might not understand why I was coming up. And I just wanted to show that I just love football. I love being part of somewhere that loves their team. And it only works when you're together. And I really enjoyed that kind of bedding in period. It was difficult, you know. We started off the back of a trophyless season, Ange coming in, a lot of change. But I just loved the way that they embraced the change and they realised that all of us were on the same page and wanted to represent the shirt. And that relationship grew and grew and grew, and obviously it was at its strongest when I left, ironically, but that's something that will never leave me, and hopefully it will never leave them.
There'll be two very strong Legends teams from Celtic and Manchester United. Yourself and Artur Boruc will be the Celtic goalkeepers at different times in the match, of course. Some great Celtic legends there. Tom Rogic making his return to Celtic Park, and some big former Manchester United names as well. You must be looking forward to catching up with everybody.
Yeah, and it only feels right, you know, the two incredible clubs. Obviously my heart's with Celtic, but they represent well. They've both got incredible foundations, doing good things for good people. Yeah, I can't wait. You know, Tom especially, I got to spend some time with and appreciate as such an amazing player. You know, interesting person as well that I got to know over that time. And I'm really pleased he's coming back because I know how much Celtic loves him. And he's not the kind of guy who takes love as easily as I do, if you like. So I think that'll be really, really special. And all the other guys that we've mentioned, and you know, being in the same team as Artur as well, I'm going to love that. Yeah,
the likes of Georgios Samaras, Joe Ledley, Charlie Mulgrew, Stilian Petrov, these are real Celtic heroes.
Yeah, they are. You know, and I've crossed paths with the guys, played against Charlie, played with Georgios at City. Stan I know so well. You know, Joe Ledley, I know what he's done throughout his career, and all the other guys who are coming. So it's nice that we'll be on the same team. And again, like I say, for a great common cause. Let
me talk to you about the foundation. It's a huge part of Celtic's experience. It's a huge part of Celtic's history, of Celtic's present. The Paradise Pit Stop is the main beneficiary of this match. It's a project that in this day and age really shouldn't be needed, but it is. It's a very popular one, if popular is even the right word. But just from you, a word on your experience of Celtic FC Foundation, the great work it does.
So I love how the Celtic FC Foundation works, because they're not just trying to put monies into charities, they're genuinely trying to help the people in and around Glasgow. Of course, we know Celtic's a global club and will continue to be, and will always want to be, and help as much as it can. But you know, the Paradise Pit Stop, for example, understanding that maybe it wasn't necessarily set up for what it is, but now what it is, you know, a real community and something that people can look out for and feel safe in. I think that's worth so much. And if they can continue to do that, and if, like I say, if I can be part of it by helping to raise these sorts of money for the foundation, then it's everyone wins.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you enjoy these occasions when you get together? How much of a physical, you're still looking in great shape? I'm assuming you're keeping in great shape. Will it be a physical test for you still?
It'll be everything. I'll be putting the gloves on and putting the shirt on. You know, I'm not going to get carried away and play like I'm trying to hurt someone, but my thought process will be the same. I don't know when that will run out. I was lucky enough and privileged enough to play in Soccer Aid. That was my last game of football. And I knew as soon as 2 days were out how I was going to treat it, and I can't see this being any different. Look, we're here to celebrate, we're there for fun, but ultimately I'm in goal and I'm trying to keep the ball out.